Good morning. Welcome to the SBA Stimulus Package CARE Act series. MMSDC and or the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Council would like to say thank you for tuning in with us today. Our featured speaker this morning is Constance Payne Logan. She is a federal government executive who leads the Michigan District Office operations, employs staff and SBA resource partnership throughout the state of Michigan. Constance is the first woman in the Michigan District Office history to be appointed to this position. In addition, she leads key initiatives including the President Obama's Strong Cities, Strong Communities, and My Brother's Keeper. Help me welcome Constance to the webcasting platform.
Hear me, Dorothy?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're on mute.
Okay. All right. Great. Great. Okay. Good.
Thank you. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and appreciate the opportunity to come before you and the membership to talk about what's going on at the SBA during this most unprecedented time. I talked with your leadership as well, Michelle, and we had numerous conversations about, there's so many things going on. There's such a moving target. And what this is intended to do, to really talk about where we are, to really hopefully talk about some of the things that you've heard, some of the things that you're reading online, and to really give you kind of a straight shooter conversation here. So it's important that first of all, that you all know, that the memberships know that as I lead the state of Michigan, there are 68 districts across the country, and I lead one of those 68 in Michigan. And what the audience needs to know, that we are very committed to helping the small businesses really get through this pandemic and this crisis. With that being said, we are a federal agency, and we report to our national headquarters, and there are a lot of things that we're working through right now. I have a staff of 10, as well as our resource partners that we oversee. They are totally committed to helping us get through this crisis for small businesses. One of the things we did initially when this first happened is my office worked very closely with the governor's office to put together the paperwork to make sure that the entire state of Michigan was declared a disaster. And so that's the first thing that happened. So again, without our resource partners and our entire team, we couldn't have done that. So we were right up front in the very beginning in terms of getting us declared as a disaster. So that's the first thing. So now the money is available through our EIDL disaster loan, and we also have the payment protection program, which I know everybody's hearing about, reading about. And so hopefully, as we have this conversation, we can answer your questions. The questions that we don't have the answer to, we're going to be very direct with you and tell you we don't have the answer to those questions. But understand that when we do get the answers, and we are fighting to get those answers, you will be one of the first to know, because we're trying to be very proactive in terms of communication on a local level and working through organizations like this to get the word out, because sometimes silence is bad, because you really don't know what's going on and you're hearing so many things. So hopefully we can have an open dialogue and talk about what the issues are, the things again that we can control, that we can't control, things perhaps that you could even help us with. On the call, I also have with me Brian Picarazzi. Brian is a senior area manager, and Brian has been appointed to be on our COVID-19 disaster team with the SBA. So he's working with all the other regional offices across Region 5, which is the region that we actually sit in. And so he's in meetings on a day-to-day basis, also connected to headquarters, as well as myself and my deputy, Lakita Henderson, who may be on the call as well, to really get the most up-to-date information that we have as we get through this crisis. So I want to turn it over to Brian right now to give you a brief overview of our loan products that are available. Right now we have several, but we're going to focus on the ones that are available right now for the disaster loan program. So Brian?
Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to just give you a quick update before we take your questions on our two programs that we have out there right now available to small businesses. First, we have our EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. That's a program that can be applied for at sba.gov/disaster. Those funds are given or dispersed directly from the SBA. That loan program is for small businesses that are under 500 employees and private nonprofits. All would be eligible. That loan is 3.75% up to 30-year term, up to $2 million, and obviously for businesses that have been impacted by COVID-19. Again, you apply directly for that loan on our SBA website at sba.gov/disaster. There is a portion of that loan that you may have heard about as the EIDL Advance. So when you apply for that loan, or if you have applied for that loan, there is a portion of that that is a grant up to $10,000 that will be deposited into your account within a few days while the rest of your application is being processed. We also have the Payroll Protection Program, or PPP loan. The difference between this and the EIDL is the EIDL is a loan. The PPP, well, I should say the EIDL is a loan that is applied at SBA.gov and funded directly by SBA Disaster. The PPP is a forgiveness program to help keep your employees on payroll paid for the next 8 weeks. That is an application that you submit to a local bank or credit union, and they will process that application and fund that directly to you through the bank. So it's not funded directly from SBA. So you do have to work with your local banking partners to apply for that loan. So I think at this point maybe we can take some questions on those, or hand it back to the moderator.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. We'll now open it up for questions. If you could please unmute your phone at this time. And it looks like, Constance, we have some questions in the Zoom chat. Can you see the questions? So the first question, it says, I applied to Chase PPP, and they said they will either call me or send an email. Still waiting. Anyone heard from them?
So if you applied for PPP through Chase, as Brian mentioned, you applied directly to the lender. So that does not come to SBA. I would recommend that you reach back out to your point of contact at that particular lending institution.
Okay. The next question, it says, it seems like some banks are accepting PPP application, such as Chase and POFA, etc. However, other banks, Comerica, are not. Why is that?
Well, banks have the authority to make these loans. So SBA cannot, we can't make a bank participate. in this program. Some are choosing to participate with certain criteria. For example, what we're hearing is some are working with existing customers, some are participating, working with those that may have a line of credit. Again, it's up to the bank to make their own business decision on whether they choose to participate in PPP or not. SBA doesn't have the authority to make them do it. What we have is a list of lenders that are SBA 7A lenders that we have been sharing with individuals. So I would say if a bank, I would talk to your bank first. If that bank is not participating, you need to shop around to see which banks are actually participating. If we're trying to do some of that homework for you, we've done some preliminary working with banks just to say, one, are you interested in participating? Just to let us know, and two, what's your criteria? But again, that's a process for us. So I recommend that you actually just go to your bank and ask them if they'll participate. If not, you have to shop around.
Okay. The next question, it says, who can I ask questions to concerning different options such as PUA, unemployment compared to grant or loans? Very small company, just 2 or 3, and have been on 3 different webinars and haven't been able to get any answers to my specific questions and concerns, which are different from bigger SBA companies.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. So the question is, you're trying to get an understanding of the different programs and which one works best. And you said something about bigger companies. I guess I'm not sure of exactly. But in terms of finding out, first of all, it's important that you understand really the criteria for both programs. And to do that, I would recommend going to our website at www.sba.gov. Or if you still have questions, you can also email us at michigan@sba.gov. We're fielding questions all day. So that might be a great place for you to go to reach out. But in terms of sometimes if you're trying to make a decision on loans versus grants, you may have to talk to, if you have an accountant, I would talk to that person as well, just to make sure that you understand how those programs are going to impact your business on a larger scale.
Okay.
That can answer.
How do we, I'm sorry, Kelly, do you have a question? Okay. The next question, how do we follow up on the grant if it has not been deposited? Believe you mentioned it and deposited in a couple of days. So it sounds like it was mentioned that it would be deposited in a few days.
Okay, so I assume that person is talking about the EIDL loan, which is the disaster loan that it's up to $2 million and you can apply for the grant up to $10,000. So what I'll say about that, what happened is before the CARES Act, there was an application online that was a little bit more complicated than probably what it should have been. But now there's a new application online and it's a streamlined application. It's very quick. And that also has the option for the EIDL loan. So what has happened, those individuals that applied initially prior to the CARES Act had to go back in and reapply. So they would have an option to also apply for the up to $10,000 grant. So basically what has happened is because the streamlined application is taking place, it's been pushed back somewhat. We were on a call Sunday and we were shared that hopefully now that we have a new streamlined approach, SBA has really changed its infrastructure on the backside. So you should start to hear from our disaster office, hopefully this week. Again, you can always email michigan@sba.gov. We're trying to track those individuals that haven't been contacted. So you're welcome to do that.
Okay, there's another question. It says, when applying for the loan, It appears that the grant is tacked on at the end of the application as a check-off box. Is there a separate place to apply for the grant?
Now, the grant is actually in the application. So when you go through the application for the EIDL loan, there's a box to check if you want to be considered for the EIDL loan. And you would check that box, because some individuals choose not to check the box if they don't necessarily want it. So there's not a separate place. Once you check that box, then you are stating that you want to be considered for the grant up to $2,000.
몰라요, 사람 컨퍼런스.
Hello? Hello?
You're on mute, Dorothy.
I'm
Hello?
sorry. Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, this is
Okay.
Sherry
Oh, yes, Sherry.
from Illinois. I have a couple questions. What was the email address again? And go slow, please, where we can contact you.
So our email address is michigan@sba.gov.
Michigan@sba.gov. And any
Correct.
particular person we should address this to?
No, that goes to our entire staff, and we're planning to those emails on a daily basis.
Now, you said there's two separate programs. One is we apply to you directly, the SBA directly for employees under 500, correct?
So that's the criteria for both programs.
Oh, okay. Well, the one that we apply directly to SBA is the disaster program, like if we've been affected economically.
That is correct. That's the EIDL loan, and that's direct from the SBA, correct?
Bell EIDL loan.
EIDL.
EIDL. And what does EIDL stand for?
Economic Injury Disaster Loan.
Got it. You got that, Clarice? Okay. Now, that would be the one that requires 3 years of my taxes, correct?
No, that does not. If you go to the disaster SBA disaster.gov, it will walk you through what you need. At this particular time, the need for tax returns documents have been removed.
Oh, okay, because I just had my accountant do that, because when we first looked at this, it said 3 years of tax documents.
That was the old application. The one that's online now, streamlined, and that is not required.
Okay, now can we print that out, the streamline one?
I'm not sure. Brian, do you know if they can print it out? I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not sure if you can print it out, to be
Sorry,
honest.
Connie, I was muted.
Okay.
You can hear me
they
now?
print that out? Do you know if they
Yeah,
can
no,
print
I
the
don't believe you
disaster?
can print that out. It's a fillable PDF online, and you just you fill it all in online and submit it.
Hello, if you are on the call, can you please mute your phone? We are allowing you to speak during the conference, but we do need you all to mute your phone if you are not speaking. Thank you.
Okay, so we just make that out online. Okay, now that is the disaster, and how much is that available for? Up to 2,000, you said?
No, it's up to $2 million.
Okay. Not per company though, right?
Yes, per company.
Oh, okay. Because we have not had any income since January here. That would be awesome. And then the PPP loan, the other loan. Okay. That is the one that can be, that's the one we do through the bank.
That is correct.
Okay. And how much is that one?
That's up to 10 million.
That's also up to 10 million.
No, one is 2 and one is 10.
Okay. Right, the EIDL is 2 million, she said, and then this one is 10 million. Okay. Now, and that one could be forgiven. Now, the difference, what is the PPP one for?
Brian, do you want to speak to the PPP?
Yeah, so the PPP is your payroll protection. Essentially, that is going to be a loan that's forgiven that allows you to pay employees you had on staff for up to 8 weeks.
Okay. Okay. And the 8 weeks, might that be extended if this thing goes on?
Well, we don't have an answer to that yet. Brian, did you want to go ahead? Go ahead, Brian.
No, you said it right. We wouldn't be able to offer any guidance on the program extending or anything like that. We can only say that it's available now and it's out there to be applied for to cover payroll for your employees up to 8 weeks.
Okay, and when does the 8 weeks
stipulated by
start?
Congress. It's stipulated by Congress. I just want to say that. So if you're interested, anyone on the group chat, in terms of extending it, I would contact your local congressionals because we really don't control that, but you all do.
All right. Do you know when it started, the 8 weeks?
Go ahead, Brian.
It'll be 8 weeks from when you are approved for the loan.
Oh, from when we're approved from the loan. You got that down, Clarice? Okay. So it's not backed up like the February when the coronavirus started or something like that. It's from when we are approved for the loan.
That's right. That's when you would be able to start paying them once you get the loan for the next 8 weeks. Yep. So essentially what it would be is you're going to take your gross average monthly payroll for the last 12 months. So you take your payroll for 12 months, divide it by 12, and that's going to give you your gross monthly, and you can times that number by 2.5, and that's going to be the amount that you're able to pay out in payroll for the next 8 weeks. And that information is on our website. If you go to sba.gov/coronavirus, it's actually on the application. The equation you will use to determine that is on the application, which is also on the website.
Okay. So, and it tells us how to figure out that whole thing. Okay.
Correct.
And that's the loan that's forgiven. Now, the other loan isn't forgiven?
No, the other loan is a loan.
And what is the interest rate on that?
3.75.
3.75 interest. Okay. All right. And the other thing I have suggestion, you did start kind of late, I think, today because we dialed in, but it said 11 o'clock, but it's actually 10 o'clock Central Time. So you might want to put that on the tickets, according to your time zone, because that's how I missed the first one. And so I'm probably going to attend again at 3 o'clock today, but that would be 2 o'clock Central Time. So, but just for your suggestion, so people aren't, lost or whatever. because this is kind of confusing a little bit, you know. So I think I talked to you before, Brian. I'm not sure if it was you or not when I called in. So, all right, that's all the questions I have right now. Shall I mute me now? How do I do that? *6 again, or does it just mute me?
I can mute you. I will mute you now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Constance, are you ready to take a few more questions?
Sure, we're here.
Okay, awesome. So the next question, it says, and it's from Robert Cummings. The program says forgiveness or grant will occur if correct expenses are met. Does the payroll need to be the same when 2.5 months are over? Explain if monthly payroll was, let's say, 10,000. Does that same 10K need to be paid moving forward? Reason asking, sales may not support the same payroll.
Yeah, no, you just have to maintain your payroll without decreasing what you have paid for that 8-week period.
Okay, thank you, Brian. The next question, can you explain the Express Bridge Loan Program?
Yes, so the Express Bridge Loan Program is a program available for a bank or credit union to advance you up to $25,000 through our SBA Express program until you receive funds through either PPP or EIDL. The important thing to note about that is you can only do that program through your existing bank. You can't go find a new bank to do that. So if your existing bank is offering that, you can call and ask them if it's an option for them to offer you while you wait for either EIDL or PPP money.
Okay, thank you. The next question, I have 2 businesses generating income. Can I apply for the grant for both companies?
So for the EIDL, if you have 2 separate companies, it's kind of a loaded question, but if you have 2 separate companies with common ownership and they are in the same county, it would just be one disaster or EIDL application. So in that case, it would be one grant money. If you have 2 companies in the same county that do not have common ownership, it would be 2 separate disaster applications, and it would be, at that point, you'd be able to apply for the grant on both of them because they're separate applications.
Okay. Will the loan be taxed?
We're awaiting guidance on that question. We're not able to answer that at this time.
Okay. The next question. Do you know if there are any directions for applying for a PUA?
So I'm not sure what PUA is. I don't know if there's a way to get the full name of that, and not just the acronym.
Okay, let me finish this. Maybe this will help. Our business
PUA is, they've said online that it's the pandemic unemployment insurance, and that people who are self-employed, that they're waiting for directions. So because normally I cannot apply for unemployment if something happens because it's just myself and my husband. But they say for people like me or contractors that they're waiting for directions, and they called it a PUA online when the governor was talking. So I don't know if I should wait for that for myself, because with it being myself and my husband, neither of us are making money. Or do I try to apply for a grant, because a loan at this time, since we're so small, would not work for us.
Okay, so I can't offer any guidance on the PUA. So that Unemployment Act would be a state, probably be a state question on that. I would tell you. So are you your 1099 employees? Your independent contractors?
We have an S corp, so we're a W-2.
Okay, so you would be eligible to apply for the EIDL.
Okay. And I would have no, now would that be considered a grant or a loan? Or does that
So
depend
it's,
on what you fill out?
yep, it's both. So it's a loan, but there's a portion of it that is a grant, up to 10,000. So when you apply for the loan, you will automatically be included in that up to 10,000 grant piece that is not, that you don't have to pay back. That money will come to you faster while you're waiting for the loan to be underwritten to see how much you actually are approved for.
And if they do send me a grant, say, or they do decide on the loan, but I feel at this time, since we're so small and I don't know about, the paying back part of it, I'm still trying to check that out. Can I, if they give me a grant or decide it's just going to be a loan, can I say, no, that wouldn't work for me at the time?
Yes. So when you make the application and you get the grant money, it doesn't matter if you accept the overall loan or even if you're denied for a loan, the grant money is yours.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the next question. Can you explain the $25,000 bridge loan? Do you have a list of participating lenders for the PPP in Michigan? And what are the deadlines for applying for the EIDL loans and the PPP loan?
Yeah, so the $25,000 bridge loan is an SBA Express Bridge Loan program that a bank can use to advance you money conventionally or through that program while you wait for your applications for PPP and EIDL. There are lists of lenders who do the SBA Express Bridge Loan, but really it's not that applicable because the only way to take advantage of that SBA Express Bridge Loan is through the lender you're currently with or through the bank you're currently with. So if they don't offer it, there's not an option to go anywhere else. That has to be done through your current lender or current bank. As far as deadlines for EIDL and PPP loans, I'm not aware of deadlines. I know that right now they're accepting applications. I don't know how long we'll be doing that for, so I'm not aware of a deadline, but I believe it's going to be open for a while.
Hey, Brian, I just want to jump in. So for the EIDL loan, I believe that's available till the end of the year, 12/30/2020. And the PPP loans, we're waiting on direction from that.
Okay. The next question, it says, is every employee covered under PPP? It says primary residence should be a citizen of the USA. Does this mean as long as they are staying and working in the USA, are they covered?
We're waiting for additional guidance on that question.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to take a few more questions, Constance? Keep going.
Sure.
Okay, great.
We're yours until you have us for an hour, right?
Yes, we do. Yes. Okay, awesome. Okay. We submitted SBA disaster loan application on 3/23. Do we need to resubmit the application in the new format available now?
I'll take it, Brian. Yes, you do. You need to submit it. And also it's going to be to your benefit because the previous format, you didn't have the option to apply for the up to $10,000 grant. So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay.
The only thing I'd add to that is you will not lose your place in line. Right. So your place in line will be still the 323 application, even though you're submitting the new one now.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, this is Sherry again. Now, if I'm paying independent contractors for 1099s, but they're part of my payroll, can we still do the PPP and or the other loan, the EDIL?
For EDIL, the 1099 contractors are considered employees. For PPP, we're waiting on additional guidance.
Okay. All right.
Okay, the next question, it says, when will we receive the 10K advance upon applying to the SBA loan?
Well, as I shared earlier, it's a new streamlined approach, and we are hopeful that those dollars or emails in terms of letting you know the status will be sent out this week. Now that they have a new streamlined approach, things are moving much faster. So let's see what happens this week. And again, I mentioned we're trying to track those who haven't received an answer. So if you haven't received an answer by this week, you can just email michigan@sba.gov.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
On the same question, the 10K. So I applied the loan on April, actually, yeah, as soon as it was open, the SBA program. And since you're saying we have to redo the application, so if I go ahead and redo the application, will it trigger anything to the old application, or, you know, how does it work? Because that's totally void, the first application that we did on the SBA.
So I have a question. I heard you say you applied in April?
Yeah, beginning of April, the 1st probably, or in March.
So
End of
if you, okay, so it's a thin line. So the new application became available end of April. So if you had the option on that application to apply for the up to $10,000 grant, you're in the new application. You did?
Yeah, I did check off the 10K, so I'm good. I don't have to.
So you're good. Yeah, don't, if you did that already, don't go back. You're good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next question, how will small businesses that do not currently have relationships with the major lenders gain access to PPP funds? Is this a disadvantage for MBEs?
So
there's, if your bank is not doing it, I guess, so if when you say relationships, first I would start with the institution you're with, whether if it's just a business checking account or a personal checking account, whatever bank you're with currently, I would start with them. But almost, you know, there's many banks and credit unions that are participating in this program. So if your current bank isn't doing it, or for you, or for whatever reason they're not doing it, you can check with almost any financial institution and put applications in, or see if they'll take your application.
And also, we have credit unions and lenders are coming on board every day. So as our list becomes updated, we will try to post that on our website. Again, if you want to email us to let us know status, we can share that with you as well at michigan@sba.gov. But as I mentioned, that the list of lenders or credit unions that are participating is really expanding. So I wouldn't let the fact that you don't have a relationship with a large lender be a deterrent to keep looking and keep communicating with us to see who else is really doing PPP.
Okay, thank you. I believe we have either a comment or a question from Don Elliott.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm new to this. I just did my application yesterday evening. Everything went through as far as I can tell. I did get a $5,000 loan per se from my credit union. Couple questions on that. They're allowing up to 4 months deferred payment on that, for I think is pretty good. Low interest rate. Am I subsequent to lose any advancement from the SBA because I've got that loan? Come on, qualify me anywhere that's right as what I did get a loan from a small bank or from a banking institution that's participating.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole question. At you, Brian?
No, I did not.
My phone, you guys having a hard time?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
we're not hearing it very well. Maybe you could type it in the chat.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Uh,
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure how to do the chat. I just, hello? There? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, yes. My question is, I did get an emergency thing from my credit union. I did apply last night for my small business loan. I did not see any limits on what I could possibly get. I guess tell me the limit once I get a response back whether I'm approved or not, which is will that $5,000.
It looks like we lost him. So Constance, it doesn't seem like we have any more questions in queue.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any? Okay, look like one just popped up. Did you say the money we pay to independent contractors are considered employees under the EIDL loan?
Yes.
Okay, great. And the next question, can we track our SBA loan application? We received a confirmation upon submission.
Unfortunately, not at this time. That's something that the agency is working on to put a dashboard, if you will. So either you can track it or we can track it. At this time, it's not there. So we appreciate your patience in helping us work through that on a national level.
Okay. The next question, are companies receiving forgiveness for a PPP loan not eligible for the 2-year deferment on employer FICA, but can we defer a tax now till we know the status of the PPP loan?
So we're waiting for additional guidance on that question.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Do you have any information on the grant loans administered by the MEDC or DEGC or the local economic development offices?
I do know that MEDC does have a grant program. I think they have grants and loans. And what MED has done is they have reached out to the local economic development organizations. For example, DEGC got a portion of the money. If you're in, let's say, Ferndale, they got a portion of the money. So if you reach out to your local economic development organization, they got a portion of that money. So you have to apply directly to DEGC. But if you go to the MEDC website, it will tell you based upon your zip code or your address where you have to go to apply for that grant.
Thank you, Constance. The next question, is this recording, the recording for this event, is it available? Yes, this event will be available. I do not have a definite date for you, but yes, it will be available to you. The next question, if I have already laid off some employees recently and they are not available for rehiring for now, do I qualify for a portion of the forgiveness for the remainder of the employees?
That's another question where we're waiting for additional guidance.
Okay, thank you, Brian. It looks like that's all I have in queue for now.
Hello, this is Sherry. I have a question, follow up on what you just asked.
Hi, Sherry.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. If I have laid off somebody part-time, but they're coming in 3 days a week, and since we're running low on money to be able to pay them till we get some of these grants or loans, then does that program still apply for them? Or which program?
Yeah, I would say that for the PPP, we're waiting on additional guidance for that, but you would, it sounds like you'd be eligible to apply for the EIDL loan.
Okay. Because I'm not firing them. I'm just cutting their hours back right now, you know, due to this disaster.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I think the best answer that we can give is you would be eligible for the EIDL loan, but we still are waiting guidance on the PPP portion of that question.
Okay. So we'd be available to apply for the grant and that loan part. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Under the PPP, is independent contractor considered as an employee?
Yeah, we're still. I think we might have. I'm not sure if we talked about that earlier or not. But on the PPP side, we're waiting for guidance on the status of independent contractors.
Okay.
So Dorothy, let me share a little bit so the audience also knows this. So this program is a program, you know, with the SBA and Department of Treasury. So while SBA is responsible for the implementation of the program, there's certain guidance that we have to get from Department of Treasury in terms of employees, 1099. So when Brian states we're waiting for information, that's what we are actually waiting on, because that's really outside of the scope of SBA. It really is a SBA and a Treasury partnership that we're rolling out. So both hands have to come together and have an agreement on what's actually going to happen.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like we have about 7 minutes left for this webinar. Is there any final remarks you'd like to share, Constance and Brian?
Yeah, I would just like to, first of all, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk about the programs, to hopefully alleviate some of the fear the best way that we can. We know it's a very stressful time for everyone, and we want everyone to know at the local level in Michigan that we're doing everything that we can to work on behalf of the small business community. My whole team this is all we're working on. They're all teleworking, they're all safe. We are really working hard to just ensure that, one, the communication continues to flow, and we'd be happy to come back on as we get updates just to make sure that you get it firsthand from your SBA here in Michigan. So again, we appreciate your patience and just thank you for giving us the opportunity to communicate with the business owners today.
Thank you. And Brian, would you like to have final words?
You know, I'd just like to echo the sentiments that Connie said. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to talk about this program. We are doing our very best to implement it, to get money to folks as quickly as possible. And again, we just really appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. I just would like to say to our viewers and or our guests who will tune in today, we want to say thank you so much. We realize these are very trying and very challenging times for you, but through the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Council, we are here for you. We hear your voice. We have various resources and webinars that are out there for you to help you navigate through the process. If you have some time, go to www.minoritysupplier.org. We have created a tab for you under the COVID-19, and up under the COVID-19 tab, you'll see a tab for resources, and then you'll see a tab for webinars. Please go there and take a look at the various webinars that are available to you. And we do have several that are a series, and this webinar is a series. So in other words, you can put a placeholder for today, for next week at the very same time, and then we will have discussion on these various topics. And if we were not able to answer your questions at this time, then we can also try to answer them for you next week. And again, we do say thank you for tuning in with us, and we would like to say stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.